Lights, cameras, champagne. The life of Josephine Baker was one of drama and inspiration. But who was she? Josephine Baker wasn't just a performer. She was a force of nature, breaking boundaries in ways the world never expected. From dazzling stages of Paris to secret missions against the Nazis, and fighting for racial equality. Her life was anything but ordinary. I'm Jordyn Stoudemire, and let's dive into the incredible story of Josephine Baker. On June 3rd, 1906, Frida Josephine McDonald was born in St. Louis, Missouri, to parents both entertainers who performed all throughout the segregated Midwest. They often brought her on stage during their shows, but unfortunately, their careers never took off, forcing the young Josephine to seek odd jobs to survive. She was forced to drop out in the 5th grade and took jobs as a doorbell ringer and vegetable collector. As a teen, her eyes were open to the tribulations of racism, as she took a job as a babysitter for many rich white families. But shortly after, she began experiencing physical and sexual assault from the family she worked. When times were tough, she experienced periods of homelessness. And if she was unable to find work, she would often dance in the streets, collecting money from onlookers. Eventually, her routine caught the eye of an African American theater troupe. And by the age of 15, she ran away and began performing with the troupe. But even then, she found trouble maintaining a permanent role in their chorus due to racist hiring methods. During this time, she got married and took her husband's last name, dropping her first and becoming Josephine Baker. Thus begins her legacy. Her travels brought her to New York during the Harlem Renaissance, where her talent caught the eyes of many producers. In 1922, she earned a chorus role in the traveling production of Shuffle Along, which was one of the first all-black musicals on Broadway. She performed across the city with her unique, charismatic combination of dance and humor, sending her into the spotlight. But despite this stardom, she decided to leave the stage just 3 years later, hoping to escape its racism. In 1925, Baker moved to France, becoming an overnight sensation with La Revue Negra. She became known for the Danse Sauvage and the controversial yet iconic banana dance. Here's a quick clip.
This is Josephine Baker on the stage of the Folies Bergère at a moment of music hall history.
By the 30s, she was one of the most famous entertainers in the world, starring in films and cabarets. She was so revered that all you had to say was Josephine or the Baker, and people automatically knew you were talking about her. But Josephine Baker wasn't just an entertainer. When the world needed her, she became something much more. Over time, France became her home, and when World War II broke out, she refused to stand by. Baker joined the French resistance as an informant, using her celebrity status as a cover. She collected intelligence at parties and wrote secrets in invisible ink on her sheet music. With her looks and charm, she was able to smuggle information across borders, sometimes hidden in her clothing. She was later awarded the Croix de Guerre and the Légion d'honneur for her bravery. After the war, Josephine Baker faced a new fight, one closer to home. Despite her love for France, Josephine Baker became homesick and returned to the US. She expected to be glad to be home, yet she was shocked by the persistent segregation. While Harlem served as a hub for thriving art and self-expression within Black culture, segregation and discrimination remained pervasive. She asserts in quote, "Oh, I have had several fantastic offers in first-class theaters and nightclubs. But when the question arrived about my people coming to see me, immediately there was a silence." Baker went on to refuse performance in segregated venues, contributing to the integration of major clubs. It was challenging for her to connect with Americans as she once naturally did with the French. Each time she returned to the States, now as an international icon, she urged her country to change its ways. In the 1950s, she regularly worked with the NAACP, but the organization invited her to speak in Atlanta in 1951, and she had to cancel her engagement due to being denied lodging and service in the area. The NAACP still recognized her work and commitment to civil rights and proclaimed May 20th as Josephine Baker Day. Part of her civil rights effort included the creation of her Rainbow Tribe, through which Baker adopted 12 children from diverse backgrounds, hoping to demonstrate how ethnicities could coexist in harmony. In 1963, Baker spoke at the March on Washington alongside Martin Luther King Jr. Josephine continued her activism until her death in 1975. In the late 60s, Baker faced significant financial problems, leading to the loss of her chateau. However, Princess Grace of Monaco provided her with an apartment and much-needed support. Despite these hardships, she continued to perform and speak out, and had successful performances at venues like the Olympia in Paris and Carnegie Hall in the States. In 1975, she starred in a retrospective revue, Josephine à Bobino, 1975, in Paris, celebrating her 50 years in show business. This was a triumphant return. The revue was a great success, attended by many celebrities. But just a few days later, on April 12, 1975, she died in her sleep from a cerebral hemorrhage at the age of 68. She was given a state funeral in France. Josephine Baker shattered expectations at every turn, dancing her way to international stardom, risking her life for freedom, and using her voice to demand justice. Today, she's not just remembered for her performances, but her courage and conviction. In 2021, she became the first Black woman inducted into the Pantheon in France, a fitting honor for a woman who defied limits her entire life. So let us end with a famous quote from the woman herself. French people, please don't attack me for this butchering. Je pris le cours de la vie, mais je l'ai appris la tête haute, avec dignité, parce que j'aime et je respecte profondément la humanité. This quote translates to, I have taken the life's blows, but I have taken them with my head held high, with dignity, because I so deeply love and respect humanity. Let her words ring with a call to action, because your voice matters, and maybe you'll be just as famous as Josephine Baker one day. For any lingering questions or thoughts about Josephine Baker, please check out the sources I used to research this video. Also, check out the movie depiction of her life, though, fair warning, it's hard to say if this has aged well since its release. Thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something.